Bridging exercise. The goals of this exercise are to activate the gluteal muscles prior to playing. Key coaching points include pushing through the heel, extending the hip fully without extending the lower back. External rotation exercise. The goals of this exercise are to activate the rotator cuff muscles, specifically at the back of the shoulder. Key coaching points include maintaining pressure on the towel with the elbow at all times. Perform the exercise at a slow speed, approximately 3 seconds out and 3 seconds back, and maintain a strong grip throughout. 4-point kneeling thoracic rotation exercise. The goals of this exercise are to mobilize the thoracic spine, which is the region of the spine that exists roughly between the shoulder blades. This is an area that commonly becomes tight in tennis players and is very important for shoulder health. Key coaching points include setting up as shown in the video with hands under shoulders and knees under hips. When rotating, it's important that the hips remain still and all the movement comes from the thoracic spine between the shoulder blades. Split squats. The goals of this exercise are to mobilize the hip flexor muscles of the back leg whilst activating the muscles of the lower limb. Key coaching points include maintaining a right ankle with the front knee at the bottom position, maintaining a squeeze of the abdominal and gluteal muscles also at the bottom position, and maintaining a tall upright posture with the upper body throughout the exercise. Single leg squat to hip stretch. The goals of this exercise are to activate the muscles that stabilize the hip and pelvis, as well as to mobilize the hip rotators. Key coaching points include sitting back into the single leg squat as if sitting into a chair, to encourage engagement of the gluteal muscles, to maintain a straight alignment of the head, hip and knee of the stance leg at all times, and to maintain an upright posture of the upper body at all times. Side lunge exercise. The goals of this exercise are to activate the muscles that stabilize the hip and pelvis, as well as to mobilize the adductor muscles on the inside of the thigh. Key coaching points include setting up as shown in the video, feet wider than hip width apart and pointing straight ahead, sitting back into the lunge to encourage gluteal activation, and raising arms up in front as you perform the lunge to encourage upright posture throughout the exercise. Hand walks. The goals of this exercise are to activate the muscles that stabilize the shoulder blades, as well as to mobilize the hamstring and calf muscles on the back of the leg. Key coaching points include setting up as shown in the video with hands under shoulders, maintaining a straight line from head to heel. Initiate the movement by pushing back with your hands before walking the feet in, maintaining a straight position with the knee. Hold this position for 2 seconds. Return to the start by first walking your feet back, then pulling your shoulders forward back to the start position. Quad stretch exercise. The goals of this exercise are to mobilize the quadriceps and hip flexor muscles on the front of the thigh, as well as to activate the muscles that stabilize the hip and pelvis. Key coaching points include initiating the movement by pulling your heel to your hip whilst maintaining the knees together. Maintain a contraction of the abdominal and gluteal muscles. Then reach with your spare hand while simultaneously pulling your back knee up, aiming to reach as close to parallel as possible with the floor. Eccentric internal rotation at 90 degrees. The goals of this exercise are to increase the strength of the rotator cuff muscles, specifically at the back of the shoulder. Key coaching points include maintaining an upright posture with the head and chest. Rest the elbow on the knee as shown in the video. Lower the weight to a count of 5 and use your opposite hand to help return the weight to the starting position. Shoulder external rotation. The goals of this exercise are to increase the strength of the rotator cuff muscles, specifically at the back of the shoulder. Key coaching points include keeping the elbow tucked into the towel on the side of the body. Perform the exercise with a strong grip and keep the speed slow, approximately 3 seconds up and 3 seconds down. Push-up exercise. The goals of this exercise are to increase the strength of the rotator cuff muscles as well as the muscles around the shoulder blade. Key coaching points include elbows at an angle of 45 degrees to the body at the bottom position. Fingertips are just behind the shoulders and maintaining a brace of the abdominal muscles at all times. Band row exercise. The goals of this exercise are to strengthen the rotator cuff muscles of the shoulder as well as the muscles of the shoulder blade. Key coaching points include maintaining head and chest in an upright position, roll the band so that arms are at 45 degrees to the body, and squeeze shoulder blades together at the back. Wrist extension. The goal of this exercise is to strengthen the extensor muscles of the forearm. Key coaching points include keeping the entire forearm in contact with the thigh at all times. With a strong grip, lower the weight towards the floor, then extend the wrist at a slow speed to return it to its starting position. Pronation supination exercise. The goal of this exercise is to strengthen the pronators and supinator muscles of the forearm. Key coaching points include keeping the entire forearm in contact with the thigh at all times. Begin with the wrist in neutral. Slowly lower the weight so that your palm faces the floor. Then return the weight in the opposite direction until your palm faces up towards the ceiling. Wrist flexion. The goals of this exercise are to strengthen the wrist flexor muscles of the forearm. Key coaching points include keeping the entire forearm in contact with the thigh at all times. Slowly lower the weight, allowing it to roll onto the tips of your fingers, then flex the wrist to return to the starting position. Front plank exercise. The goals of this exercise are to strengthen the stabilizing muscles of the lower back, which protect the lumbar spine against injury and also help transfer forces efficiently from the legs to the shoulders. Key coaching points include bracing the abdominal muscles and gluteal muscles at all times whilst maintaining a neutral spine. Side plank exercise. The goals of this exercise are to strengthen the stabilizing muscles of the lower back, which protect the lumbar spine against injury and also help transfer forces efficiently from the legs to the shoulders. Key coaching points include maintaining a straight, neutral spine from head to toe. Single leg bridge. The goals of this exercise are to strengthen the gluteal muscles, which help stabilize the lumbar spine and pelvis and also help in the transfer of force from the lower body to the shoulder. Key coaching points include keeping the spare knee as close to the chest as possible at all times, push through the heel and brace the glute muscles at the top. Hip flexor stretch. The goal of this exercise is to lengthen the hip flexor muscles at the front of the hip, which are commonly tight in tennis players. Key coaching points include maintaining a right angle with the front knee, bracing the abdominal and gluteal muscles, reach tall for the ceiling without extending your lower back. Hamstring stretch. The goals of this exercise are to lengthen the hamstring muscles on the back of the thigh. Key coaching points include placing the foot up on a low bench, moving from the hip only whilst maintaining a neutral low back position. Lean forward until you feel a stretch on the back of the hamstring. Maintain this position for 30 seconds. Calf stretch. The goals of this exercise is to maintain length in the calf muscles at the back of the leg. These muscles are commonly injured in tennis players. Key coaching points include keeping both toes pointing straight ahead, lean the hips towards the wall whilst maintaining the back heel in contact with the ground. Maintain this position for 30 seconds. Sideline quad stretch. The goals of this exercise are to maintain length in the quadriceps muscles on the front of the thigh. Key coaching points include lying on your side, maintaining the bottom knee towards the chest, brace the abdominal and gluteal muscles while pulling your heel towards the back of your hip. Maintain this position for 30 seconds. Low back stretch. The goals of this exercise are to maintain length in the muscles of the lower back. Key coaching points include starting on all fours, walk your hands out in front, push your hands into the floor, then attempt to sit back on your heels. Maintain this position for 30 seconds. Groin stretch. The goals of this exercise are to maintain length in the adductor muscles of the inside of the thigh. Key coaching points include maintaining an upright posture with the soles of your feet together. Pull your feet in towards your body using your hands while simultaneously pushing your knees out with your elbows. Hold this position for 30 seconds. Wrist extensor stretch. The goals of this exercise are to lengthen the wrist extensor muscles of the forearm. Key coaching points include maintaining a straight elbow whilst using the spare hand to flex the wrist until you feel a stretch on the extensor muscles of the forearm. Maintain this position for 30 seconds. Wrist flexor stretch. The goals of this exercise are to lengthen the wrist flexor muscles of the forearm. Key coaching points include maintaining a straight elbow whilst using the spare hand to extend the wrist until you feel a stretch on the flexor muscles of the forearm. Maintain this position for 30 seconds. Horizontal adduction stretch. The goals of this exercise are to lengthen the muscles at the back of the shoulder, which are prone to tightening. Key coaching points include maintaining good posture whilst using the spare arm to pull the arm across your chest until you feel a stretch at the back of the shoulder. Maintain this position for 30 seconds. Sleeper stretch. The goals of this exercise are to maintain internal rotation of the shoulder joint, which is commonly reduced in tennis players and overhead athletes. Key coaching points include lying on the shoulder that is to be stretched with the elbow at 90 degrees. Use your spare hand to lower your forearm to the floor until you feel a gentle stretch at the back of the shoulder. Maintain this position for 30 seconds.